All right. So thank you guys so much and welcome back to Daddy Uncut, the podcast. I am so excited to have a special guest here, and it's actually my first in-person guest. And for all of you guessed it, yes, it is none other than Dustin, my better half, my partner, my best friend, all those things above. So I wanted to bring him on because he's the man who made me Daddy Uncut at the end of the day. So I gave you guys a little insight on me in the first episode, so it's only right to bring him on in the second episode, so you guys get to know us as a couple. So, introduce yourself. Hi, baby. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming on to my episode.
Yeah, only if you gave me wine.
Yeah, that was his request, guys. Wine.
Friday night.
So I had to make him his own special cup with our Daddy Uncut logo. But so like anything, I think everyone's main question would be how we met.
How we met.
Yeah. So I'll let you tell your version of the story. How did we meet? Love at first sight.
Yeah, so it was a mutual friend of ours.
Right.
Longtime friend of yours.
Correct.
Jason Gaines. Shout out to Jay.
Yes.
Yeah, it was, how long ago now? 2019?
Yeah. Yep.
2019, Christmas time?
Yeah.
So
Christmas time.
Going to a Christmas party for a business associate of mine. Jay was hosting it.
Right.
And as adults only, night in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
He literally was like, you cannot miss, oh my God, I'm not going to miss it. Not going to miss it. I told Nick and the whole Highline team, shout out to Nick and Highline, that I was coming to the Christmas party. And it was kind of easy. I was already going. He kind of just, tried to get me to come to I went to 2 Christmas parties with him that night. But yeah, he just happened to be on just texting me like, yo, just make sure you don't miss tonight, this and that. And, as a businessman, I had just met Jay and we kind of hit it off, right? And he was kind of like a big brother to me at the time, you know what I mean? And still, as a businessman, I didn't want to I was trying to, make that connection and, relationships were everything in our business. So, I was just like, Jay, I'll be there,
Right. So I'll chime in on that. He actually did the same thing to me. So Jay was calling me and was like, you have to come. You have to come tonight. And I unfortunately wasn't able to make the first party because just timing. But he was just calling me. He texts me usually. He doesn't usually call me to say you have to go. I was like, all right, cool. I'll be there. Little did I know he had this whole plan in mind to introduce us. But I knew a little bit of this handsome man, a little bit about him, not too much, but I had known who he was already. So I thought it was interesting that he kind of came to secretly kind of introduce us in a weird way.
Yeah, it was super awkward.
Yeah.
Super awkward.
It was awkward. So what happened that night?
Yeah, so I was at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Another mutual friend, Aaron, was at the bar with us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Him and Jay grew up in Santa Monica together and played ball together, so it was cool. I knew someone there, and we were just kind of hitting it off and just chilling at the bar. At the moment, I was in a relationship. He was. I was deep into a relationship, and just doing my own thing at the bar with Aaron. Some awkward way Jay introduces us. As he's passing through, drags us to each other, and is like, D, this is Chris. Chris, this is D. Y'all get to know each other type shit. It was just so awkward. I was by any means not looking for a baby mother at the time. I was already in a relationship. And it was just it was very, very random, and it was cool though. Like, I still stayed away. I stayed, kept my distance.
Yeah, his eyeballs didn't. Yeah. But he kept his distance.
Yeah. My eyeballs didn't.
No, his eyeballs didn't. He was like burning through my soul across
I stared like a little kid.
I was like,
I did.
What is this guy? I'm like, is it me or?
I can look, just can't touch.
Yeah, he was like staring hard, and of course, I might have had 1 or 2, maybe 3 tequila Sprite at that point, and I called him out. I called him out, but all in fun and games, just because I was kind of feeling awkward because he was staring, and Aaron made his way to talk to Marla, introduce himself.
He sure did.
Yeah, he did. And, Aaron kind of made a comment. I was like, oh, you left your friend over there. And Aaron was like, yeah, he's like so in love with you. And I was like, oh, God. I'm like, I'm going to fuck with this guy because he's making me feel uncomfortable from across the bar. He had a pink drink in his hand. He was like talking to the...
it was a craft cocktail.
It was. Okay, so come to find out later on in life, he enjoys craft cocktails. But it happened to be pink, and I made fun of the fact that he was drinking. He was drinking a girl's drink, okay? And he was, from across the bar. I said, like, what are you drinking? A girl's drink? And he kind of got like, no, like, and then
double on the rocks.
And I just turned around and like ignored it, laughed, and then he comes around with the double on the rocks, and I was like, oh, I got a big boy drink.
Don't tell me.
But we kind of just, kind of reintroduced ourselves because Jay did kind of introduce us super awkwardly.
Yeah.
But I actually knew of Dustin. So not because like Jay had told me about him, but we were actually at the same Clipper game the month prior. Mm-hmm. And I know all of Jay's friends, for years. So he like put a story with Dustin in it. I was like, who's that? Because I don't know him. So he tags him on the next post, and I click on his thing and his Instagram because, we're females, we do that. And I was like, has a girlfriend. That was it. So initially on the first, he didn't tag him, so I put the eyeball emojis to Jay, just eyeball emojis. He never responded back, never said anything. And then the next slide, I figured out, whatever. He was in a relationship, so I was like, oh, no, whatever. I didn't even, out of sight, out of mind. So when he introduced us, actually, it was really awkward because I was like, no, this guy has a girlfriend. Why would you even, introduce him to me, And I was like...
Start some shit.
Yeah, and I was like, no. I'm not for that. But, as we got to talking, I'm like, he was just saying oh, so nice to meet you. Jason had really nice things to say about you. And I was like, well, okay. I said, well, you know why, right? And he was just looked at me like, no. And I was like, well, I asked who you were, but then I saw that you had a whole ass girlfriend. His eyeballs were like, oh. He's like, yeah, he was super honest, never denied it, was super kind of talked a little bit about his situation, and we kind of just left it at that, and we were like, I was just like, man, I hope that everything works out, and then we were all in a group. It wasn't like we were alone at any given time.
Yeah,
so
all your girls.
All my friends, and then his Aaron was there.
Aaron was dance boogie.
Yeah, so we were all kind of talking and hanging out. It wasn't that was the gist of us really having any type of just intimate conversation, I guess you can say. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I think we just super vibed. We all just vibed. Yeah. And he asked me for my number so that if and when he was single, he would like to hang out and be friends. And mind you, I already probably at that time had 4 or 5. And I look at him, I was like, damn, he is cute. And I was like, no. I was like, look, dude, the day you're single.
She said it just like that.
Literally. I 3 singles. And I was like, do you know what that means? He's like, yes. Like, I would never disrespect you. I get it. And I'm like, okay, cool. The day you're single, maybe we can, like, be friends and hang out. And he's like, all right, cool. And then that was that. But I really told him, like, you cannot use my number. Like, you just can't. Like, he's like, no, like, I would never disrespect you. And I said, all right, cool. From that day, I did not think and or see anything of that. Anything, like, past that day, that situation never, like, I didn't think about it, nothing like that. It was just, that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
And then...
Till it wasn't.
Till it wasn't. Yeah, and then shortly after, he ended his relationship. And he reached out. For those of you who thought that it was lapsed, never that. That was never the case. He reached out and he was very specific, like, hey, I hope you're doing well. Like, FYI, I'm single. I'm not disrespecting you. But, you know, and I'm like, dude, are you good? Like, what's going on? Like, literally, and I think we just built a friendship.
Yeah.
And by that point, like, you were moving to the Bay.
Yeah, I was going through it. He
was going through it, you know, and he was super open and honest from the beginning, and he was doing therapy with his ex, and I was well aware of it, and it was interesting how it all happened, because I think we really were just built a friendship, and I think that me not knowing what it would lead to, but also realizing that this person was who I was praying for was kind of crazy.
Yeah. It
was very, very crazy because, man, I had asked for a lot of different signs. You know, I had been praying, and I asked, you know, I asked God, I said, you know, if and when it's the right person, I know you'll let me know. One night, we're at dinner, and this guy's telling me everything, his whole life story.
Yeah.
And we're walking out, and he just was saying...
It wasn't even dinner.
No, it was not dinner. Dude, it was just like drinks at a Bar Louie, if you've ever been to Bar Louie.
Literally like chicken wings.
Chicken wings and freaking... Yeah. Nothing serious. It was not formal. It was not like a planned date.
I was venting out.
He was just literally venting, and I was like, wow.
I literally told her, like, everything. Wild shit.
Some crazy shit that you just don't tell
a girl
like that
talk
you
to your boys with.
Yeah, like, wild shit. Like, to the point where he, at one point... Like,
I was using her for free therapy. I was tired of paying therapy. I used her for free therapy, and she was great. She was great, you know.
But, man, that night when we were leaving, he had mentioned that he always wanted kids. And that he always wanted daughters, and he even had their names picked out, and I laughed at him, and I said, wow. I said, that's a girl thing, because, like, girls have their kids' names picked out, like, you really do? And he's like, no, for real. And I'm like, well, what are the names? And he asked me what were mine, and we both said the same name, and we both kind of looked at each other like, no. And I think I was a little more like, no, like, how are you trying to spell it?
Yeah,
but, you know?
Yeah. She didn't believe me.
I didn't believe him. And shit, it's so crazy at that point, you know? And we just kind of, like, laughed it off and went home. And, man, I got in the car, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, I asked for a sign, but really? Like, this guy is just getting out of a relationship. He seriously just dumped his whole story. I'm like, this was not the way. But I didn't think anything past that, really. Like, I knew then that it was special, and he was special, and I didn't know where it would go or what. And I would never apply pressure on somebody who's going through something, because I'd been there in the past. And I think that I just said, Lord, if this is it, you know, help me be patient. Help me, like, it's on your time and it's your will what will happen. And yeah, we're here.
Yeah, I mean, it was communication for like the first, I don't know, 5 months, because I was in the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to the Bay shortly after we even met.
Right. Like literally a couple weeks. Yeah.
So it wasn't, I mean, we had a couple, we went to the bar that night, we might have went to eat a couple times, and then...
Yeah, like, but it was like we were around the same areas and like,
just like linked up.
Yeah, linked up. Like it was never anything formal.
Date or formal, yeah.
No, like it was never an actual date.
It was the first time that like, I don't know, maybe it was age or experiences or what I had just been going through. It was the first time actually meeting someone and like communicating, you know?
Right.
Not at the club, like not at supper, not at Playhouse, you know what I mean? Not out, not fucking...
But you know, really quick, we were in the same places at the same time for years and we never met. And we know a lot of the same people.
Insane.
Like, it's just crazy, and that just is the testament to God's timing for real.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like communication meant a lot.
Yeah.
You know? Even in the Bay, like it was just we communicated, you know?
Right.
We communicated consistently. Yeah, it was different. You know? Everything was different.
Yeah, we
for me.
I'll say it. We weren't sexual at all for a while. We weren't. I think coming from experience, I think on both ends, like it was just so. Our communication and our connection was so special that we were almost scared to fuck that up.
Yeah. And I was just like,
do you feel the same way?
Yeah, and I was scared of like rushing and getting into something. I was like, oh shit, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Not only that too, and I myself, like, I didn't want. It's hard to get into something with somebody who's just trying to heal, right?
Yeah.
And I've had already gone through my, you know, I was at that point I was clear-headed, mind-headed, and I knew what I wanted and what I was looking for.
I was still doing therapy over there.
Yeah, and he was still doing therapy, and I think for me it was like, man, at one point I'm like, she found out that we were like dating or talking at that point later.
Yeah.
And I think I had actually gone up to hang out that weekend.
Yep.
And then she found out, I guess, like shortly after.
Yep.
And I'll never forget coming home and from that trip, and I'm like, man, like maybe I just need to like not even really entertain as much as I've been entertaining as a friend, because he's still going through it, and then I was already like kind of emotionally involved in having feelings and stuff. So I kind of was like, man, like what do I do? Like, do I just like, I'm in time to like pull the brakes and let this man go through it and heal. And then I prayed about it and I said, Lord, like, this is on you. Like there was no pressure. I would never do that. And I think that it all transpired in the way that it was supposed to, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then you came home.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just like come home.
No.
We did Coachella.
No, yeah, but I mean, we hung out. And
that was like the first time, like, we, like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
We were, like, seen in public, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first time we were, like...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah, and then shortly after... He came home. And, yeah, and then we found out we were having a baby.
Shit moves pretty quick.
But it didn't feel wrong, though.
No, it didn't feel wrong. At all.
We were both kind of calm, really calm about it, actually. It didn't feel wrong. And then life happened even faster after that.
My God.
Even faster. And... man, we're parents, and now we're about to be parents of 2.
I know.
How do you feel about that?
Again, I was relaxed because you don't know how to share news. You know?
I know, I'm terrible.
Terrible, yo. Terrible. It was not expected.
Right.
I mean, obviously the first one wasn't expected.
Right.
But Noah's dope. All right, he's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For me as a man, I was just like in the right timing for me to have children. So like with you and everything we already had, it all made sense. And then this one is a COVID baby.
I know.
You know. No, we got our girl though.
Yeah, we got our girl.
So,
and funny enough, so like the name that we both said was Camila. So now we're having a girl, and we're obviously naming her Camila.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's really special. I think that's a testament to our.
It's all been perfect
connection.
timing.
It's all been perfect timing. Not planned, either or, but perfect timing.
Yeah.
And yeah. So now we're in a whole another adventure. We moved out of California, and we bought our first home in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to be able to have a home to raise our kids in. Mm-hmm. And that's exciting, but the more exciting news is why we're actually here. Mm-hmm. And I want people to really understand, because I think a lot of people don't know like why we would just pick up and leave LA, especially in the middle of a pandemic. We talk about this all the time. And I think it was really time and opportunity that met, and now we're here. So tell us a little bit about Oklahoma Kush.
Refill. Oklahoma Kush. I have to say I got a lot of inspiration from the Los Angeles Kush, the LA Kush team back home. Shout out to them, shout out to Gene, everyone of the team. That's kind of where the inspiration came from. I'm an ex-athlete. My partner is an ex-athlete. I feel like sports and imagery and just the nostalgic colorways and branding is what really led us to the Oklahoma Kush name. We've been doing this shit over 10 years now, and it's something that happened very organically.
Right.
I feel like the name came very organically. Mm-hmm. I feel like the concepts came very organically, and now we're in Oklahoma. We're opening dispensaries.
Right.
We're opening a distribution center.
Right.
And we're launching 3 brands under one umbrella. So, there was a lot of drastic change from us, coming together as one, us having a child, COVID, my partner and I, Django, shout out to Django, both leaving our company that we were with Viola, and left the Viola family to pursue, some of our own dreams and our own ownership, and kind of just took a risk and just, kind of threw everything in and just went for it. So Oklahoma Kush, we look to be one of the prominent brands in Oklahoma. We look to be some of the pioneers that influence the market here and influence the industry from the Midwest. And it was very nostalgic for me to come back because I had actually lived in Oklahoma 16 years ago, and I went to college here 16 years ago, and to see where the industry went here was insane. And we're happy to call ourselves Okies. Oklahomans,
yeah.
I think God just led us here, and we were talking about this last night,
right? And
I didn't even remember this.
Yeah, actually, something specific. I'll never forget. He came home one day, and he asked me if I trusted him, and I was like, with my kid in hand, feeding him, and I'm looking at him like, Yeah. Of course I do. And I know his main concern was just me not to feel uprooted. And he really took me into consideration and concern about what that would be like for me also. But most importantly, like, I had been at that place in life before where myself was ready to take the leap of faith and really bet on myself. And I saw the same fire, the same energy in his eyes and voice when he was saying that he was ready to take ownership and come to Oklahoma and really take the state over. And I mean, I'm not by any means a cannabis connoisseur, but being around and, being really involved in your day-to-day, I've gotten to know so much about the business. And not only that, like, your work ethic towards it, your passion towards it, and I could only just cheer you on and root you on. And I think at that point too, for myself, COVID had happened, everything was shut down, there was really nothing for me to stay back for, and it was one of those things where I'm there 100%. However I can help, whatever I can do, let's make it happen. Because we both knew what that meant for us as a family. We have a lot of things that we're building together also outside of Oklahoma Kush. But it's really exciting to see everything come into fruition, from you really traveling. Once Noah was like, 4 months?
Yeah.
He was traveling here almost, even prior to that he was, right before I gave birth, he did his last trip here. Yeah. And then he kind of, obviously the world shut down in the first 3 months, which were the crucial months.
Yep.
He was home with me, and then he did pick back up and was just doing the weekly trips here to get everything started, and really it's been a journey, and I'm really excited to have been a part of it, and every little bit that we get to, the build out and everything, and seeing the store come to life every day is just so cool. And then everything that's come along the way, right? So it's not only the store, now we have 2 stores, and
we got 2 stores,
and the processing center and all that. And it's really cool to see how you guys were able to do this from afar. And now, we're fortunate to be here, so you're a little more hands-on. So I'm excited to see just the evolution of this process for you as a businessman, and for us as a family, really, because I guess just the opportunity that is here, we could have never had it back home.
No.
And I mean, that's not to say that you can't make it back home, because that's a lie, but when you're able to get outside of your comfort zone and explore other opportunities outside of your comfort zone is where I think you grow the most.
Yeah.
And I think that this is just like the beginning.
Yeah, we haven't even really broken the ice yet.
No.
And it wouldn't be possible without the team we have,
right,
and the circle we have, Right. Shout out to Django and Elle holding it down back home.
Yeah.
Big time. We wouldn't be here without them,
Right.
Our boy JP,
JP.
Mommy Uncut, Oklahoma Kush.
So JP is actually our graphic designer. Designer in general, right? He's just does it all for us.
He's our creative.
And JP actually, I gave him a concept, and he came up with my logo. So
mine too.
All of our stuff is actually JP, and we really, really appreciate JP. And he just comes. But back to the team. So
team's strong.
Right.
We have so much support. I think really the relationships we've been able to build here back home have really actually have been what what's really like brought this to life. You know, like shout out to Jesus, our contractor.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
You know, that's like our brother.
Yeah.
You know, Pedro and Ricky.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, without them boys, like opening so many doors for us. I mean, the list kind of goes on. It's a small circle, but like, you know, every single person plays their part. You know,
right?
And there's more that we're not naming.
Well, yeah, of course. And then I mean, there's just so many moving parts and so much going on that this is just the icing, right? I mean, if we sat here and we just disclosed everything, it'd be a long interview.
Episode.
But I admire you because this is one of, like, I don't know how many podcasts you've been on, right?
Yeah.
I've had the luxury to be present in a lot of those, and seeing you speak about cannabis is really, really intriguing and really awesome, because I love the way you're able to bring insight and education about the industry. It is an industry that a lot of people want to know about, how to get in. There's just so many unanswered questions because it is quote unquote still taboo. And I think that you having the platform that you do, I think you're touching a lot of the community and allowing, you know, these questions to be asked and answered, because a lot of people still are very on the hush-hush about the industry in general.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it was one of our goals, you know, to like, you know, we always talk about bootstrapping,
right,
you know, and being on the ground, and, you know, not only talking about what we do, but acting on it, you
right,
know, especially in our industry, so much money is being poured into this, but I don't feel like enough people are touching the ground to, you know, give the industry and give the community back what it needs, you know. And so I think we're taking a very guerrilla marketing approach and bootstrap approach to how we touch the people and how we touch the communities. There's a lot of information that needs to be given back. There's a lot of camaraderie that needs to be given. There's a lot of education that needs to be done, and I think by doing it firsthand, you know, it's how you really, really grow. You know what I mean? And we might not have all the money in the world, you know, but I think if we don't focus on the money now, it'll come in the end. But if we can influence, is the most important thing, you know, and just share our knowledge and experience from all these years into a new market like this. You know, people have only been doing it, if you're from Oklahoma, you've only been doing this for going on 3 years, you know, and my partner and I are blessed to have the experience and knowledge, you know, coming from California and going to different markets like Michigan, and now we're looking at Florida, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just an ongoing, you know, it's just an ongoing story, you know. It's just, I don't think it ever ends,
right?
You know, and we just got to focus on today. And yeah, I think coming here, we've been able to kind of have a sense of peace too, right?
Absolutely.
We've been able to help each other creatively,
right?
I don't hear helicopters anymore. I don't hear like police sirens, but just the hecticness of LA can really, really like fog, and the noise can blind and like really distract you from, you know, your goals or what you're trying to get done, right? Because there's just so much going on
at all times. Even when it was shut down, there's just the anxiety of the shutdown, right? Like people don't know how to like maneuver through that, right? So there was just so much noise, and then God, we went through the George Floyd situation, and we went through so much things during this, like that period of time that was just so. I mean, we said this last night, which is 2020 is a year we'll never forget.
Never.
You know, there's just so much change and so much that we endured as people.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about us is that we didn't like indulge in the news.
Yeah.
You know, we really just focused on us.
Right.
You know, if you're trying to give back to the community and try to be a good American citizen, all I can say is act on what you believe in. You know what I mean? More than ingesting information, act on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
some people are frontline people, some people are behind the scenes. You know, they talk about this whole social equity, you know, play in cannabis, and decriminalizing it, you know, because, you know, blacks and Hispanics are the ones that are obviously the most that, dealt with, you know, criminal felonies from this, right. You know, so more than from my part in this industry as a minority, you know, it's really just acting. You know what I mean? We are very diverse when we hire. We're diverse in the people we move with and work with. And I think just our actions of how we move are say it all. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't get too deep into politics and too deep into this pandemic. You know what I mean? Family thought I was crazy, right? Everyone thought I was crazy for traveling while you were pregnant, traveling while we had a baby. After we had a baby, we got away and took a trip together, and people thought we were insane. And I think just us understanding who we are and just trusting each other, you know, we didn't get blocked by what the pandemic did or what the world did at that time and what the country was going through. So, yeah, I mean, I just love that we're just on our own level. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We don't get too high, too low at any time. You know, we communicate through it all. Yeah. You know, we support each other. I've never felt happier.
Oh,
you know, I've been able to grind as hard as I've always had. I've been able to enjoy, you know, the good times. I've been able to, you know, the baby. I mean, just everything. We just make it work. You know, we don't put extra stress on each other. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's very slowed down here too.
Right.
You know, the people are great. You know, you're dealing with more genuine people in Oklahoma. It is the Bible Belt. You know, people were raised differently out here. Mm-hmm. But they love them some fucking weed, though. You know,
they love them some weed and booze.
You know? No, I think the move we made was great. And, you know, you know, we got other family members coming this way. And we can't wait to have Django and Ella here. Yeah. But, you know...
like, little do you know, everybody's going to end up here somehow.
I think a lot of people are going to end up this way. And it's not permanent.
No, it's definitely not.
We're kind of letting God just kind of guide us, you know, and not get caught up in, you know, what retirement looks like or when we're going to go back home or, you know what I mean? I think the sacrifice we made was definitely the right one and a good one. And I appreciate you, you know, trusting me and following through with it and to see where it goes, you know?
Yeah, I think we're both very much the go with the flow type people in general. So I think that really helps. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I get the main question like, oh my God, like, well, how is it out there? Like, you know, like, and surprisingly, like, I really like it out here.
There's way more culture than you think.
There's way more culture. I think people, when they heard Oklahoma, they're like cow tipping, like
we could do
like
that
ranch like style. Like,
we could do that too.
Dude. Like, if you come and you visit us at some given point, like, you'd understand.
Yeah. Good food.
The food's good. You know, we live in a great city. Literally has everything that you could possibly need. Mm-hmm. I call it, like, so that you guys would understand, if you're from LA, like the Pasadena of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it just has everything, you know, and it's pretty big. It's pretty big. It's one of the safest cities in America. Mm-hmm. And yeah, shit, we have a beautiful home, thank God. Right? We manifested that, though.
We did. It's part of our vision board.
It's part of our vision board. So, you know, we do vision board parties every year. Yeah. And I think we were hoping for
we were planning on buying a property in Cali.
Yeah, so we were wanting to actually do like our first investment home. So not necessarily our first home, but our investment home. Back home, and then we knew that was like what we wanted, but we didn't know that we were going to do this whole move, and you know, it was all God's work too, because when we came here to look at homes, we were just we said we're going to dumb it down, and we'll we'll live in something smaller for, a year or two to get the business up the ground. Like, we were really just trying to, like, bootstrap it, like you call it. Like, really, like, the least of the least, like, and just try to grind it out. And God was like, no, I got you. So we had found a home that we were going to rent, and for some reason, the lady that was renting it was building a home, and then she had to extend, and then it just didn't work out because by the time we needed it, she was still there, whatever. At that point, when we got the call that we didn't get the house, man, I was like, fuck, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And, like, it's just timing didn't allow for us to come back out when we had already dealt with several realtors and there was nothing for rent. Like, literally nothing at that time that we needed, like, for when we needed to move. And, man, like, I call my mom and I'm like, man, like, we didn't get the house. Like, I don't know what to do. So I happened to go back on Zillow or I don't know, one of those apps. Yeah. And I ended up finding a home for sale. It was for sale. And I was like, oh, this is nice. And so, I look at the price and I'm like, calling my mom and I'm like, hey, like, what do you think about if we buy? Like, I found a house that I kind of like. And she's like, well, asking me all the typical real estate questions. So I was like, I think we can do that. She's like, yeah, I think so too. Everything happens for a reason. Like, why not own? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then I go to find out it was the builders, right? Like, of the same home. And then I found our home within, like, a couple clicks. And I was like, oh my God, I love this house. And it wasn't even done. Like, the pictures weren't even done yet. It was still being built. And I showed him, and of course, like, we have the same taste. So we're like, mind you, this is like, we had been looking for homes for a long time. Like, our home, it's not a traditional home in Oklahoma. By any means necessary.
People say that we brought LA with us.
I think that was just God had our back. But, so man, when we came across this, we were like, oh my God, we have to have it. So, it was a long process. It was, oh my gosh, my parents are in the field, so I grew up in the industry. But it's different when you're on the other side, and you're buying and stuff. So, but thank you so much to my parents, man, and Ruben, our loan officer, and everybody who, like, really played a role to guide us through and make this happen. And shit, like, it was so surreal, that this was ours and that we were able to pull it off. And, it's like, it's one of those things when you're like, you try to shoot low and God always is like, nah, bigger. Yeah. Bigger. And, it was awesome. And then now, like, it just all makes sense because shortly after coming here, we found out we're pregnant. So now we have the space to have one more baby, and that's it. We're done, right?
This one.
Yes, this one.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I'm tying them up.
He's tying them up. So really quick, I had asked on my Instagram stories a couple questions that you guys wanted to know, either about us or about Dustin himself. So I'm going to take a quick look at see what people have been saying.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. Okay. Ashley, want to have more babies or 2 and done? I think we just answered that question.
I think 2 and done.
Done. We're done. Let's see, Nani. Who is his favorite prima-in-law? You're annoying.
Yeah, it's you, Nani. It's you.
We answered the how we met already. And I think that's it so far, because I did post that a little late while we were in the thing. But anyway, so what do you think people will want to know about us, other than, like, what we just said?
I don't know. Our shit's out there. We got kids, we got businesses. Probably people want to know that we ever going to come back to Cali.
I mean, we did say we wanted, like, we would have like a 5-year quote unquote plan, right? That we'd most likely come home, but realistically, we can plan all we want, and then, you know, everything takes a different turn. No? Well, I think it's right around that time. No, it's bedtime.
It is. It's bath time.
It's bath time. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming on and being my first in-person guest.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we close out?
I'm starving.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification buttons to make sure you are alert when we drop these videos, which are usually on Sundays, 4 o'clock Oklahoma time, 2 o'clock LA time. And yeah, thank you so much. Bye. Till next time.
Peace.